Shalom. I want to start this off by giving all the praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Well Kakwadash. Double honor salutations, peace and blessings to the elect individuals, starting with the other apostles and other bishops of the Great Millstone Church, on down to the rest of you brothers and the brothers I labor with, who all push forth the will and doctrine of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, in all faith, truth, and sincerity, according to the true understanding of the scriptures. To all of you, I say Shalom. And this is going to be a quick lesson. I don't write this Lord willing. And it just comes from basically like just woke up not too long ago, but the spirit woke me up, basically thinking on this topic, which I say the topic is gonna go into free will, right? Those those of you in the world that believe in free will, there's no such thing as free will, right? Those of us in the truth, we understand this. But this is something important to understand in regards to how the Most High works. So I just wanted to grab the scriptures that I had, that had came to mind through the Spirit, as the Spirit had pushed me to do this lesson. It was like the first thing that the Spirit said to me when I woke up. It was like thinking of free will with my eyes closed, and then all of a sudden when I wake up, Spirit's like, do a lesson on it. So the water Yahweh Shem Yahushai, for constantly giving me the drive, to teach and profess His word, because these are the key things to help give our people peace of mind, give our people understanding, and our people being you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You are the true Hebrew Israelites. There is no such thing as a black Hebrew Israelite. It's a Hebrew Israelite because you have different Hebrews, right? You have Hebrew Edomites, which would be the so-called white people, including the small hats and things and such, or those of such that come of the so-called white race, But you got Hebrew Elamites, Hebrew Ishmaelites, things, so on and so forth, if you will, right? So, but nonetheless, jumping straight into this, right? Like I said, this is going into free will, right? So it's important to understand how the Most High works, how He deals, with us in our minds. So I'm gonna start it off here in Jeremiah 17:10. So it says, "I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings." Right? Now, that word for heart is la'ab, right, in the Hebrew. And la'ab goes into your mind, your inner man, So he pays attention to our mind, right? And he's basically trying vetting, or basically searching out what it is that's constantly being occupied in our minds. What are the things that you constantly have your mind on, right? And depending on those things, and depending on the actions that you've basically played out, that's what he gonna give you to, right, within your mind. Like basically, we gonna get it. Get the next verse, right? So in Job 33:15, right? What the Lord does is He seals our instruction within our minds before we even go forth to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Before the day starts, right? Job 33:15 says, "In a dream and a vision of the night, it's like you when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed," right? So when you're asleep, and you're dreaming, right? It says, "Then He openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction," right? So what He does is as we are asleep, those are the moments that he gives us the instruction of what it is that we're gonna do, right? That's why it's key to know and understand it's the Lord that's doing this. The Lord, he's the one that's controlling everything. So he's the one that seals our instruction, basically what it is that we go on to play out, right? But he does that by trying the reins of our mind, right? Because scriptures say, grab this one real quick. Proverbs 16:9 says, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. You see? So, through your thoughts, like how it says in the NLT, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps, right? So you can have thoughts in regards to like what you may want to do and things. Such you might have aspirations of things that you may want to do, or you say like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna do this. You plan out 10 things to do, but depending on what the Lord instructs, right, and how he directs your steps for the day, you may only get to 5 of them, 2 of them. Shit, you may be able to get all 10, but it all depends on what the Lord wants you to do ultimately. That's why it's already set in stone who the 2/3 is that's written to be destroyed, and who the 1/3, the numerable multitude, the elect, all is, written to be, right? Those things are already established. You know what I'm saying? We, through our minds, looking to keep them and stayed on the Lord, right? To have fruits that please the Lord. That's why we strive to be of the elect, keeping our minds on that, and looking to have our actions, play out the things that the elect would be doing, to Lord willing be of the elect, and that's why it's important to pay attention to what it is that you feed yourself, feed your mind, the things that you condone, the thoughts that you condone, right? Because Satan, he gonna constantly plague your mind to try to get you to stray off, go astray, and have your mind occupied on other things rather than the Lord, right? Because your thoughts are what lead to actions, So let me see. So like this, Psalms 37, right? This is why it says this right here, verse 4. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. You see? And that's exactly how it says here, right? In the Jeremiah 17:10, right? He says, I search the heart, the mind. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings, right? So you want to be looking to have your mind on the Lord, and your fruit, your actions and the things that you bring about be things that please the Lord, right? Because then the things that he gives you are going to be beautiful things, the things that are going to be long lasting. You know what I'm saying? If you remain in the same spirit, remain in the same headspace, the same means of thinking, because they're going to be things that please him, right? It says, commit thy ways, verse 5, commit thy ways unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. You see? So if you have your mind upon on the Lord, and you look to only have and do things in a way that pleases the Lord, right? He gonna give you these things that you desire, because you're already in the spirit, in the mindset, right, where the Most High is at the center of it, Your means of thinking, your means of operation is all centered around him. Right? So the Lord will be able to give those things to you because it goes along with him, you know. Even if you're in the cases of those that don't have their minds on the Lord, you know, he gonna give you over to certain things, right? To where those things can end up destroying you or end up hurting you in a way for you to realize I should have my mind on the Lord, you know? And that's gonna be most people's fates in regards to then shall they know after death by pain, you know? As the scriptures go on to say in the Apocrypha, right? And second Esdras, I think that's 9 and like 11 or 9 and 13, something like that. I think it's 9 and 11. But nonetheless, um, as it's saying here, simply you just want to make sure that you have your mind upon the Lord, doing things that He delights in, because that's how He's gonna give you, the desires of your heart. That's how He's gonna bring things to pass upon you, you know. So again, my next one, right? Because this ain't to be long winded. This is 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 6, right? It says, I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. Right? So this should let you know, right? Everything comes from the Most High, right? Everything that's given is being given by the Most High. So you may want a certain outcome, you may want to save somebody, you may want to, give somebody the word of things like that. But the only way that they gonna be able to receive it, right, is through the Lord. If the Lord wants them, the Lord trying their reins to see if they're truly sincere, and if they be, one that He determines to be of the elect, right? But then you also have, other scenarios and situations. You may want, you may want a specific promotion, or you may want, this at work, or you may want something done, at home, whatever the case may be, right? Those things only come through the Lord. You could do all that you want to try to make it happen, but if the Lord doesn't deem it to be, or what's needed in the moment, He's not gonna give it to you, right? And that go back to the Job, right? 16, we read through 17. It says, Job 33:16. It says, Then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man, right? It says he keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. You see? So it's like certain things the Lord, He not gonna give you because he don't want you to just go on and destroy yourself. You know what I'm saying? You may want something, but and though it may be something that's good, you may not be in the position yet to receive it. Being able to basically maintain it, control it. It's like you don't give fire to a baby. You don't give matches to a baby. You don't give laundry detergent to a baby. Why? Because they can go on to hurt themselves dealing with it. You know, you don't leave a little kid by themselves, a baby by themselves. They need to be watched and supervised because they're still a babe. They're still learning how to operate. And understand consequences and things of such. They still need to understand themselves. comprehend that, like, their existence, if you will, It's like how people talk about that, baby doesn't realize, their existence until a certain point, you know. So it's slowly and surely, and that's why it's important to train up a child, you know. And that's how we constantly deal with the Lord, right? The things He gives us are the things that He gives us for us to learn and understand certain things, the specific lessons that we need to learn, right? You don't learn and receive everything within the scriptures all at once. It takes time, it takes experience, it takes having to go through certain things and certain experiences to receive these things. And the Lord sets all these things up in the specific way, shape, form, and fashion, tailored to you. So yeah, you may have an idea of what you may want to do, but ultimately comes down to the Most High, and that's why we don't have free will. That's why it's stupid when mothers talk about, "Oh, we in the new covenant," because if that was the case, you'd be able to tap into the many mansions that the Most High has. You if you have free will, you'd be able to you know obtain any kind of car that you want, get any kind of house you want, get as much money as you want, as much riches as you want. Bugged out Jakes to be trying to make themselves Edomites, like shit like that. You know, that's not the case though. That's not how things work. It must have free will. You could just have $1,000,000 right at this moment, but you can't. Right? You'd be able to stop yourself from having cancer, stop yourself from going through certain things, right? But the only way that those things are possible, again, is you reforming your mind according to the Lord, right? And that took me to this last one. That's Isaiah 26 and verse 3. It says, "Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee." Right? Trust ye in the Lord forever. For in the Lord Yahweh, not Jehovah, but Yahweh. That's the Most High's true name. Yahweh, not Yahweh, Yahweh. Right? And his only begotten son's name is Yahweh Shai, not Jesus, Yahweh Shai. It says, "For in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength." You see? So if you want your ways to be, bringing good upon you, right? If you're looking to receive blessings and receive wisdom and knowledge of the Most High, of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? If you're looking to to grow, it takes having to have your mind and your thoughts, ultimately on the Most High in regards to it, right? That just makes me think of what it says in Colossians real quick. I think that's 3. Yep. Let me see. I know there's like another one too. It says something similar as well in the same chapter. Yeah, verse 17. Shoot, 16 too. Colossians 3 and 16 says, "Let the word of Hamashiach," right, Christ, but Hamashiach being the Messiah, right, "dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord." Right? And that's through the true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of this word, right? Being able to do so. It says, "And whatsoever ye do," in word verse 17, "and whatsoever ye do in word or deed," right, "do all in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to Yahweh," right, "and the Father by him." It says, giving thanks to the Most High, right, "and the Father by him," right? Through Yahushua, right? Verse 23, it says, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not unto men, right? So everything that you should be doing should be, centered around Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, you know? Lord, if you give me this, it's only to help me continue bringing these things to pass according to your will, right? Because that's how Yahushua moved, right? John, what is that, 5? It might be 4, but I think it's 30. 5. Yeah, yep, that's it. John 5:30 says, I can of mine own self do nothing. You see? So this is Yahweh Shai further proving, right? He's only doing, as the Most High deems fit, right? That's the entire premise that he went on to bring to pass when he walked the earth, right? He constantly mentioned how day gonna come where he gonna be crucified. These things are gonna happen, right? Even at his end, when he was praying, on his own, right, and asking the Lord to take the cup from him, right. He was asking it to take this position that he's in, where he has to get crucified, away. A moment of the flesh being weak, right, and the Most High didn't respond to him. Why? Because he had to play that out. That was according to the Most High's will. So this is Yahweh Shai going on to say this, as you can see, some red letters, John 5:30. I can of mine own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, right? Why? Because I seek not mine own will, but the will of the Father which has sent me. You see? So that's the beauty of this, when you're living in a way that is according to the Most High's will, that's how you are able to receive certain things, because you are doing things that delight the Most High. When you commit your ways according to this word, right? That's how you bring upon yourself salvation. Following the Lord's word is constantly looking to build your spirit, constantly looking to build your mind, right? To be after the Most Highs, to the best of our ability. We obviously aren't the Most High, right? But we're looking to have our minds, likened onto, right, everything that He has given for us to have through this word, because this is an extension of Him. This is how we are able to make ourselves into His image, according to His word, right? Having this word, right? So that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I'm going to give honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Wahawah Kakwadash. Till next time, Shalom.